What is R? It's a powerful language and environment for statistical computing and graphics that uses command line scripting. If you have never learned programming before, don't worry, because R is loved by so many people across diverse fields, from the tech industry to academia, business customers, and the financial world. It was initially written in 1993 and version 1.0 came out in year 2000. What can you do with R? Well, virtually everything. R is widely praised for its ability to work with data of many different formats. You can process and work with quantitative, qualitative, or textual data and image/photo data. You can conduct all forms of statistical computing. You can create charts and graphs. You can make maps. You can do so much more. Large companies across many parts of the world use R on a daily basis to produce highly informative diagrams and infographics in order to explain complex events or social and economic phenomena. So why should you learn R? There are several reasons. For one, the desktop version is free and open source, so you don't have to pay for a license or set up fees. R basically does every type of statistical function, virtually every type of data manipulation. As a matter of fact, R is widely praised for its data visualization capabilities. R is also among the top 10 widely used statistical programming languages. It is listed as one of the essential must-have skills for a career in data science, along with knowledge of Python and SQL. And there are lots of ways to get help with R. You could simply just Google an R function, or you can find out all it does. You also have a great online user community. So these are just some of the few reasons for why you should learn and use R. Although R is freely available to anyone and is highly versatile, it has somewhat a steep learning curve. To help ease your use of R for different data manipulation tasks, it's always a good practice to start using RStudio right away. So RStudio basically is an integrated development environment for R and Python that provides you with very comprehensive facilities that will enable you consolidate the different aspects of writing a code. It makes you more productive because it combines capabilities such as code editing and testing in one easy to use application. Now, we must mention that although you can use the simple R core installation for all your statistical computing and data analytic needs, a lot of people prefer to use RStudio simply because of its practical add-ons, like we mentioned before, the code highlighting and more friendly user GUI. So we are getting ready to install R and RStudio. It's worth mentioning at this point that for you to be able to successfully install R and RStudio, you need a personal computer that runs a Windows or a Mac or a Linux or other compatible operating system. At this point, those who have Chromebook uh, have not been successful because it's currently not compatible with R and RStudio. You also need, of course, a reliable internet connection and then a browser for web surfing. This could be Microsoft Edge, Google, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and any of those browsers. So now let's get ready to install R. Now to use R Studio, you must first install R. And depending on your operating system, you can download and install specific base R files directly from the comprehensive R Archive Network webpage. But more recently, the links to R and RStudio installation files are now available on the POSIT software, which is formerly known as RStudio webpage. So all you need to do is you copy the link that you see on the screen and paste it on the browser, and you have access to the installation files. So let's do that now. All right, so we have the browser open, and we can see the first step is to install R. And once we install R, we'll go ahead and install RStudio. So now we'll click on download and install R, and that takes us to the Cron web page. And because mine is a Windows operating system, I'm going to download and install R for Windows. But if you have a Mac or a Linux, you go ahead and click on the corresponding link. So click on that. And for me, I'm going to install R for the first time. So I click on install R for the first time. And I come onto this page. I click on download R 4.22 for Windows, which is what I need at this time. And then it takes a few seconds depending on the speed of your internet, and downloads, and then you're ready to install. Once the download is complete, you go to your downloads folder and double click on the file that was downloaded and follow the on-screen instructions to install the file. So click on that. So the download and installation is completed for R. So we'll go back. Step 2, install RStudio. For me, I'm going to click on download RStudio desktop for Windows. But as I mentioned, if you have a different operating system, you could scroll down and then click on the RStudio that corresponds to your operating system. So download RStudio for desktop. As usual, once the download is complete, you go ahead in your downloads folder, double click on the file, follow the on-screen instructions, and complete your installation. Now I have RStudio and then I'm good to go. So with RStudio installed, now let's go ahead and open RStudio. So you go to your start menu, type RStudio, and then click on enter. The RStudio should be open. So this is RStudio. Once it's installed, this is the screen that you will see when you go ahead and click on open. We'll explain this later, but as I mentioned in the lessons, this first part of it on the upper left section of my screen is the code editor where you type in your code and make those changes. Lower down is the console. Then you also have the environment. As we begin to use R, you learn how these functions, these different sections of RStudio, what kind of information they hold, and how this makes your use of RStudio pretty easy. So in this lesson, we learned that R and RStudio are free software that are widely used for data manipulation, data analysis, and visualization. You also learned how to download and install R and RStudio from the web on a compatible PC. Subsequently, we'll learn and begin to manipulate data, different types of data in RStudio.